previous sessions from the previous topics that we have discussed?
No, sir.
No? Okay.
No, sir.
So, okay, then we'll continue. We were on the topic of denial of service. Denial of service attacks was what we were talking about. And there are a few topics left there, after which we can move on to the practical part. So, let me check the PDF. See whether that's something that we need to pick up, or shall I use another document for this? Okay, is the document visible to you guys now?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So we have discussed same flooding attacks. Same flood we have discussed. Now let's take a look at the other kinds of attacks that are a part of this chapter. Other kinds of DOS attacks. So one is ICMP flood attack. Now ICMP is the protocol that is used in your ping and trace route commands. So there are a few different kinds of attacks with regards to ICMP flood, and one is ping of death. Now this attack originated a long time ago, like in the 1990s. So basically what this attack does is it sends a ping, and the size of that packet, the size of that ping packet is larger than the allowed 64K. So it was larger than that, and basically what it tried to do was it aimed to crash the router or crash whatever device was on the receiving end by sending very large ping packet. So basically the simple command for it, if you see, is this ping -L 65540 is the size of the packet. Use the -L option to specify the size and the IP. Now the thing is, this is a very old attack and it is not going to work on any modern systems, because in the first case a lot of systems block ICMP itself, and our devices are much more capable now, so this does not really have any kind of effect on most systems. If I were to have, if I were to run this command, I would not really see anything. I would not be able to get any kind of denial of service attack done with this command, at least in any modern device. If your device is old, if your target is an old device, then maybe you can get this attack to work. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. So that kind of attack is known as a ping of death. The next kind of attack is a teardrop attack, and like we saw categories yesterday, so this would be a part of fragmentation attacks. And basically what it does is an attacker sends custom crafted fragmented packets, and those packets have offset values that overlap during the reassembly process. This basically causes your target to become unstable when attempting to rebuild the packets. Again, this attack is somewhat older, and basically what it does is you send fragmented packets to your target device, and it's some older machines, like older versions of Windows and Linux, had a bug in the fragment reassembly mechanism. So due to that bug, these packets used to overlap one another, and this used to render the target device unusable. It used to crash the network device, and that's how this attack basically works. Now, I talked about offset. Now, offset field is something which is a part of an IP packet header, and there is this field called fragment offset, which indicates the starting position of data in that fragment packet. So when you provide the, when you custom craft these packets and you provide the incorrect offsets there, your packets will overlap, and if your target is vulnerable to such an attack, it does have a bug in its reassembly mechanism, it will crash, and it is because it is unable to reassemble those packets, it will get overwhelmed with that process, and this results in a denial of service condition. Then you have a smurf attack. What this attack does is it sends a lot of ICMP echo packets, or simply you could say ping requests, to the broadcast address of the network. Now, the IP address, the source IP address that is mentioned in these packets is spoofed, and you use the IP of the target instead of your IP. So when those packets are broadcast and all the devices receive those packets, they will then respond to that ping. If they haven't blocked it, they'll respond to that ping, and all those responses will go to your target instead of you, because you have spoofed the source IP. In the source IP field, you have written the IP of your target. So all those replies, they'll also go to the target instead of you. And basically you are trying to generate so many packets here that your target machine crashes under that load, or all those replies that it receives, they overwhelm its bandwidth. They consume all its bandwidth and overwhelm that device. So that's basically what your Smurf attack is. You have another kind of attack known as Fraggle attacks. Okay, now, we are done with ICMPs, DOS. We are looking at other things. Your Fraggle attack is like a Smurf attack, but instead of ICMP, this uses UDP requests. And similarly, it involves the attacker spoofing the IP address of the victim as the source IP address that is specified. And then you have your, like, all your devices receiving that packet, your request packets actually, and when they do receive that, the response will all go to the target IP, and it will work similarly to a Smurf attack. So that is your Fraggle attack. And the last kind of attack is the land attack. Now in this case, what you're doing is we're using TCP in this, and the attacker simply sends a SYN packet. Again, the source IP here is spoofed, and it's the same as the destination IP. So the source and destination IP are both a target. Now when the target machine tries to reply to this, of course, since destination IP, of course, it will see as its own IP, and even the source IP has been specified as the target's IP. Now that's what is the issue here. That's what causes the attack. When it tries to reply, it enters a loop and repeatedly sends replies to itself. Since it's sending replies to itself, again the cycle repeats, and this keeps happening. It enters an infinite loop, and eventually it crashes. This is how your land attack works. So these are different kinds of DOS attacks that we can see, denial of service attacks. Do you have any questions related to this?
No, sir.
Now I'll then shift to the practical portion of this. So we'll be seeing a couple of different tools that are used for denial of service attacks. First, we are going to take a look at a couple of tools in Windows that are specific to Windows systems. And these tools will only run on a Windows system. Of course, your target can be anything. So this is my Windows VM, and I'll be using a couple of tools here. One of them is LOIC, and it stands for Low Orbit Ion Cannon, as you can see here. Now you need to specify your target URL or target IP. Either one is fine. Now, one thing to keep in mind here is that you can't just go about performing a denial of service attack on just about any website. So you have to be very careful, because DOS attacks are very serious, they are very critical, and if a website finds you trying to attempt such an attack, they'll either block you or they'll warn you, or they'll say that okay, if you try this kind of thing again, we'll take some action against you. But of course, since we're in India, there's one region where we can attack websites. So the website I'm going to use is this URL. I'll log on. So wait for reply. Faster is fine. Code 80. Okay, and I click on attack. Okay. I didn't choose the method. Right. Let's just use TCP in this case. It's not really doing the attack. Let's try again. Let's just try with HTTP. Okay, so with HTTP is working. Maybe there's an issue with TCP currently. Now again, this tool only performs a DOS attack, denial of service, and a denial of service is really not enough, I would say. It's not really enough to bring down a website, basically, at least any modern website. I'm just going to stop this. It's not even going to make a dent. There's another tool called HOIC, or High Orbit Ion Cannon. Now this is a DDoS tool, and these kind of tools have some volunteers or some systems which are used as the kind of botnet. So currently there are 249 systems like this. I can specify the target. And we'll just click on this. So the most this is going to do is slow down the website, but sometimes even that can help you achieve your target, the denial of service attack. Even if you just slow down the website, make it very slow to respond, then people will have difficulty accessing it, and the website may lose business and customers as well. So for now, let's just stop this. Okay, actually, I tried accessing that website just a few seconds ago and I was unable to open it, but now I can open it in my browser. So apparently this did work to some extent. So these are two tools that you can use on a Windows system. Your target could be anything, it's just that these work on Windows. Loic and Hoic, or Loic and HOIC. Any questions here?
No, sir.
Hmm?
No, sir.
Shut this down now. Now I'll be giving you the link for both of these tools, so you can get that, get these from that link. The other tools that I'll show you right now, those are all going to be available on GitHub, but these two I'll just give you a link. So I've pasted the link in the chat, and you can get both of these from there. It's a zip file, but please keep in mind that these tools have been developed by black hats, so you can never truly trust them. So if you do run these tools, make sure you run them within virtual machine environments like I did right now, so that you can be sure that they don't harm your actual system. So keep that in mind always when using these kind of tools. It takes a while to open. Okay, so let's take a look at those other tools now. So the first one that we are going to see is known as Xerxes. Okay, so this is the file that we want to execute, but first, now when you download it, you'll have this xerxes.c. So you have to do gcc -o and give the output file name, and I've just given it Xerxes, and the file name for the C program. So this is a program written in the C programming language, and we need to first compile it to get an executable, and we have specified that we want the executable name to be this Xerxes. I do ls, I'll see that this is the executable name. If you don't give it any name, if you just do gcc xerxes.c, you will get a file named as a.out. Now we need to run this Xerxes. No connection. Oh, okay. We haven't specified any IP or port. So let's just say the port is 80. So now it has started working and it is sending a lot of connections to our specified IP on our specified port. So it has started attempting the attack. So this is Xerxes. It's a very good tool for this purpose. Another one that I'll show you is known as UFONet. So this is a tool written in Python. So Python 3, UFONet. So it's giving you all the different options that you can use. So let's try visiting the GUI, graphical web interface for this tool. GUI. Permission denied. Okay, sudo then. This opens up on port 9999. So this is the first page you see for this UFONet tool. And this is a tool that is actually used in DDoS attacks. So let's go to this attack portion. And here I can simply specify the number of, sorry, not number of rounds, the target that I want. So let's do that first. Path to attack, we just this mean number of rounds. So how many times you want all the bots to run. So it uses a botnet, which is it compiles from all over the internet. And this is an actual tool used in attacks. This is not just for educational purposes or anything. Number of rounds, let's see, 2. If I click on attack, so it has started running its attack. I'm actually just going to stop it for now because otherwise it can take a lot of time. So this is also an option for a DDoS attack. It's a tool known as UFONet. And the last tool for today that we are going to see, actually, terminal, is GoldenEye. So again, this is in Python. And all I'm going to specify here is goldeneye.py. Okay, the URL. And the HTTP method to use. In this case, I'll okay, see the thing with the UFONet is you can't stop an attack unless it ends by itself. Okay, now it has stopped. The HTTP method that I'm going to use is random. However, there is an issue when it comes to GoldenEye, that it can get a little bit unstable, and eventually this is going to crash my Linux system or freeze the system actually. And yeah, I think that has happened by now. The system has crashed. I can't do anything on this VM now. So it has crashed completely. I need to shut it down, power it off actually. So that was our practical on DOS attacks and tools that can be used for those attacks. Are there any questions on this chapter?
No, sir.
No. So you guys are following along with everything that we have been discussing, practicing all that stuff. Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, you guys have been practicing all these tools or like not today, not today, like
Not
whatever
all
you
the
did.
tools. Like
Okay,
I have a Windows system in physical mode, so I'm not trying it in my physical system.
that's okay. You should.
Whatever tools available in the Kali Linux, like Social Fish, I'm trying that only.
Okay.
And but DDoS tools are actually mostly are for Windows platform, as we have discussed.
But
Any
the
tool,
ones, yeah,
uh, any tool for in Kali Linux.
the ones that I showed you currently, I ran them all in Linux.
This one only.
So there is UFONet, which is a DDoS tool. It's basically a Python script.
Python
So
script, yes, sir.
you can
And
run it if you want. So I used these Xerxes and UFONet and what was that other one? GoldenEye. I ran them all currently in Linux.
so in our environment, can we test, because as we have a Wi-Fi network,
Okay.
and in Wi-Fi network, I have one Linux system and one Windows. So I
Okay.
can try this in one Linux system, not in Windows.
Windows, you
So
have those LOIC and HOIC to try. Like you're talking about what system to use as a target or like what system to use for the attack?
target
Target.
system.
Target mostly you use a web server, but the thing is,
Okay, web server.
yeah,
Yes, there is one web application which I used to run. That is also a Python-based web server
okay,
that used to run in my system as a local host.
local host. Okay,
So can I target that?
you can target that, but try targeting that from another device. Okay, that will give you a more realistic idea of.
Yeah, I will target it from my Kali Linux only.
Yeah, okay, you can try that definitely, but
Okay then.
you make sure that it's not connected to anything critical or
No, it's
if
not
something.
critical. It's not critical. It's just a simple project.
Okay,
That is basically a phishing tool, and it used to detect phishing URLs.
okay. So I'm
I
gonna
have
see.
also used a phishing tool, but I was not able to get the credentials.
What tool did you use?
So just a minute. The inbuilt tool of Kali Linux, and I have copied paste from GitHub the link. I don't remember the exact name.
SE Toolkit, Social Engineering Toolkit, was it that?
Yes, sir.
That used to be good, earlier, but I would not recommend using it now. It's kind of outdated, I would say.
Oh, okay.
There are better tools available. I mean, that can work as well. Sometimes it gives you errors and you have to go through a lot of issues. That's why I'm saying that you have much better tools now. So I'd recommend not using that one if you
Okay,
want to
sir.
get login credentials and such. The tools that we saw, like Social Fish and your Hidden Eye, I would say both of them are better than that for this credential phishing purpose. I'm posting the links for the tools that I've just shown you in the chat. One is Xerxes, I've already posted. GoldenEye and UFONet. Xerxes and GoldenEye are different, but if you are running UFONet, keep in mind that you only run it within a virtual machine. Be very careful with what you do with the UFONet tool, because it has been made for more than just educational purposes. It's made for actual attack reasons.
Sir, if I use that UFONet, will it be able to impact the Wi-Fi network bandwidth?
Not to a large extent, because it's using a botnet, so that those connections are originating from all over the world, not just your device. It should not have much of an impact on your bandwidth actually. But make sure that after you use that tool, you shut your system down. If there's anything else you want to do, restart your system, because UFONet keeps connections open for a long time and you don't want that. Once you are done practicing with it, close your system. If you want to continue any further practice, restart your system before you do anything else, because it keeps connections open for a long time.
Okay, sir.
Because even like if I'm using a virtual machine and I'm using that tool, then even couple of hours later, I'm seeing that my antivirus is giving me a notification that so and so outgoing connection was blocked, and I know all of those connections are originating because of UFONet. So I have to be careful with that. Okay, about Saturday's class. So this Saturday you will be available for the morning session.
I have Saturday college class in the morning time.
Okay, so okay, then just have it in the evening as usual.
Can we do it in the afternoon session?
Afternoon session, like at what time?
I am free all the day. Means it's about Nitya because she has got
I'll be
college.
free. My classes are from 8 to 11.
8 to 11. Okay. So like you have to attend online or you have to physically be present there?
It's an online.
Online. So after 11 you are free?
Yes, sir.
We could hold it from 11 to 2 then, if that's okay, or 11:15 to 2, give you a little break.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You could do that. Because afternoon I can't free up that time. That's a large batch that I have at that time, so I can't free that session. Okay, so for Saturday again morning, and we'll start after 11, 11:15. Even we can delay it till 11:30 depending on when you are able to join. But okay, as soon as you're free, you join the meeting as soon as you're comfortable.
Yes, sir.
Instead of 10, we'll just start after 11. That's if that's okay with everyone, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So for now, any questions, any other queries that you would like to clarify?
No, sir.
We will run the tool. Then I will let you know, sir.
Yes. Okay. Definitely do that. So I'll then see you tomorrow evening's class.
Okay, sir.